We'll have a moment of silent meditation of pledge to the flag. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Good morning. I call this meeting to order, March 20th, 2019, 10 o'clock. All three county commissioners here. We'll have the honorable consent and approvals by the county administrator.
Jeez, why did I mention
I won't let you forget that.
Should never have mentioned that. Okay, we have 8 exonerations for 2001-06-47. We have minutes for, and I gave the folder to Commissioner Hawkins, so I'm not sure where the folder is. Who's got the brown folder?
He does.
Okay. I need to read off the dates for the
Oh.
minutes to approve.
He needs the dates to approve. Yep.
Sorry, thanks. Commission meeting minutes for January 16th, January 23rd, January 30th, February 6th, February 13th, February 20th, February 27th, Board of Review and Equalization minutes from February 1st, February 6th, February 8th, February 13th, and February 15th and 20th.
Okay.
Okay, we have vouchers for general county fund, 181,806.93, whole severance, 10,820.10, 911, 12,214.86, Chestnut Ridge Park, 115.22, Mason-Dixon Park, 65.72, transportation levy, 377,326.40, assessor's valuation, 49.30, purchasing card vouchers, general county fund, 27,513.22, whole severance, 171.24, magistrate court, 39.35, 911, 709.04, Chestnut Ridge Park, 36.75, Mason-Dixon Park, 601.24, assessor's valuation, 98.21, for a voucher total of $611,567.58. We have budget revisions for general fund and in-house approval for emergency management. Position vacancies for boards and authorities, the Western Board of Zoning Appeals, the Monongalia County Planning Commission, the Monongalia County Development Authority, the Monongalia County Building Commission, and Camp Muffley Advisory Board. Fiduciary orders for March 20th, 2019.
Move for approval?
Second. Been properly moved in second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes. Do we have any introductions of any new employees? Doesn't look like it.
I don't, but I have one transfer for the
Okay.
Sheriff's Department. John Fowler's transferring from part-time court security to full-time court security. His rate of pay will be $2,493.04 a month, and that will be effective April the 1st.
Move for approval?
Second. Properly moved in second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. At this time, we will have comments from the public. Anyone wants to stand up, they get 3 minutes and state your name and address. We would appreciate. Looking forward to hearing from you. Yeah, I see these.
My name is Larry Stark.
If you want to just come up to the podium, that way the camera can see
Let me
you.
proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor.
This morning about 9:40, just a time for me to get in my truck and drive from the law school down here, I received an email. I think it was sent before 9:40 this morning, but it's when I was opening I was opening my email then because I couldn't get into my computer yesterday evening. And it's from Carol Smith regarding the Arthur P. Scotchell estate.
Right.
And I don't know if you all have had an opportunity to read it. Maybe you have, maybe you hadn't. But just sending a letter. It's not a pleading. I think it's maybe close to being something ethically wrong. because it just isn't right to have your mind, try to get your minds set in a certain way before you do whatever you have to do about this estate. This estate doesn't aggravate you all 1/100th as much as it aggravates me. It's been the most miserable thing I've ever done in my life. And what this is all about, it doesn't say what this is all about. What this is all about is whether Keith Pappas should be paid another $132,000. And if they're going to be asking you folks to help make that decision. And if you move it on and say, oh yes, he proved what that he earned $132,000. He's already been paid $62,500. He's been paid, I believe, we can't really see how the books work, but another $5,600. And then he wants this. This has not been approved by you once, and it should be water over the dam. It gets messy because of the way that Judge Peugeot ordered you all to redo and take evidence. It orders you to take evidence. She has She has several, I'll say maybe 5 motions in limine filed to hand to a fiduciary. The commissioner says, you can't take evidence. You can't hear evidence. Well, what are they going to do? I mean, George Armistead be put in the place of saying, I did that once, so what do? I just say, okay again and send them down? It makes no sense. Are you all going to have hearings when it comes from George and take evidence? Well, she says you can't. Well, does that mean that I can go? I said, well, where in the chain does somebody check to see if these things are right? Can I go down and make out a bill for something or other and find some rich guy died and send it over to that claim and put a claim in there, and the fiduciary commissioner just says, oops, one more. And I don't want to have to say why I filed a motion to delay this and ask George to step aside at a very, very late date. I don't want to have to say it.
Thank you.
Pardon?
Your 3 minutes.
Okay.
Thank you.
We'll be bringing this up under correspondence. Okay.
This body has not followed previous rulings by this court multiple times.
Okay. Thank you. Hi, Lou.
Morning.
Good morning. But
Louis
stay tuned
Scottrell,
again.
Senior. My biggest quest is that I have filed multiple objections since the beginning of my uncle's estate, which some have had hearings on, which has never came to a conclusion, but has always been ignored or transferred down the line. And now we're in our, I believe Judge Starcher is now the 4th fiduciary that's been a part of this estate. I the first, my cousin John Scottrell the second, Keith Pappas the third, Larry Starcher the fourth, with no conclusion to an estate that started approximately 10 years ago. And the only way to come to a justable conclusion is to hear the facts, as we've never been allowed to say as the heirs. I was in charge of my uncle's estate at the time of his death. I was the agent for all his companies, which are in question here, of how much properties were owned, how many assets were owned, how much money was being brought in, what bills were owed, what loans were to be paid. But you know who got stuck with all of them? Yours truly. I was asked to pay all the administrative fees and bills during the course of these actions that the legal system has taken from me the right to even be heard. So I'm asking you to do your diligent duty and hear this yourselves so that we can come to a conclusion and move on with the rest of our lives. As Judge Starcher said, he's been in this for almost 4 years and can't come to a conclusion because he's never received the proper accountings. There's so much that has been missing or set aside or not waived that it's sad. I conclude.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else? Seeing none, we'll close the public portion. Colleen Kuhn, we have no grants. Okay, let's go, since it's perfect timing. Correspondence. Letter received from George Armistead, Fiduciary Commission regarding the estate of Arthur P. Scotchell.
Would you like me to read it?
Yes, I definitely want you to read it, please.
Received a letter this morning attached from Mr. Starcher asking me to recuse myself from conducting any further proceedings in this matter. While I don't agree with the reasons set forth by Mr. Starcher, I do believe that Mr. Scotchell deserves to have full confidence in the person making the recommended decision to the Monongalia County Commission. Therefore, I am canceling today's conference call with the two of you at 2 p.m. Further, by this letter, I am withdrawing from this matter and request that the County Commission appoint a special fiduciary commissioner as soon as they are able. Please find attached a list of our out-of-pocket expenses, which I would hope are assessed in the recommended order in this matter. Please note that I am hand-delivering a copy of the letter to the County Commission this morning. Signed by George Armistead.
And that was on, just so for clarification, that was on March 14th, 2019.
Correct.
Okay. So what do we've received the letter. How does the commission want to, is it move forward, or any recommendations, or what?
Well, I move that we take the letter up as soon as possible with our council and make a decision and provide input back to all the parties about what we're going to do. But I would like us to be able to consult with our council first.
Right.
Second the motion.
Okay, properly moved in second.
I do have one note.
One note.
Ms. Smith sent a FedEx delivery this morning. I have 9 copies of this packet of information.
Is this,
that we need to
can
put
I just
in.
ask, is that the information that Your Honor was talking about?
It's a copy of the accountings and everything that's been, all the information that's been back and forth over the last couple of years.
Okay.
So we
So,
have we have the letter from our George Armistead, our fiduciary commissioner. We know
Okay.
that there was a letter came in recently this
Yes.
morning.
Right.
And we have this packet. I think we need time to disseminate the
Yeah,
information.
because I don't know what,
Huddle with our council
Okay.
and make a decision and let all parties involved know what we're doing.
okay,
It's seconded.
okay, it's been properly moved in second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, so that's how we'll move, and hopefully we could at least make a decision. Our goal is to make a decision within the next week or two.
I'd say within the next week, we should. be
Within the
able to
week,
provide
we will
guidance.
contact all parties, explain what we're about to do.
I understand.
Okay,
I wouldn't have been
These to
here
each
this
of
morning,
them.
but for the fact that I knew
Yeah.
that she showed that she sent you all this letter
Yeah.
also.
and you can have, because we've not seen, honestly, we've not seen it yet, so that's why we're gonna look at it, but, okay, thank you very much.
This is the letter with a bunch of.
Yes, we don't know until we see it. Okay, request for proposal for the fiscal 2018 audit. So, is that-
yes, we needed to get this out to the auditing firms that have been approved by the West Virginia State Auditor's Office. So I went ahead and had Colleen go ahead and email everybody on the approved list last Wednesday afternoon. And so this is just entering the
Okay.
RFP for your,
For informational
Yeah.
purposes. Okay, do we have any other correspondence?
the only other piece I have is an order that came in from Chief Judge Susan Tucker. It's just an order appointing the magistrate, James Timothy Pocius,
Right,
as of March the 1st.
okay, that's informational purposes also. Okay, any unfinished business?
No, sir.
Okay, going to new business. To consider for approval requisition number 7 for the Star City Project number 1 Series 2012 TIF Administrative Expense Fund.
Okay, I've got an invoice submitted to me by Steptoe and Johnson for $3,870.
Move for approval. Second.
Proper moving second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Consideration of requisition number 27 for the University Town Center Economic Opportunity Development District subaccount.
And the total requisition to be transferred for payment on the bonds is $308,065.64.
Move for approval?
Second.
Proper moving second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, second reading and public hearing for the proposed readoption of the Monongalia County floodplain ordinance duly adopted November 4th, 2010, 9 as the floodplain regulations and reenacting Article 1765 floodplain regulations to provide for certain modifications to said regulations recommended by the Federal Emergency Management Agency and the State of West Virginia Division of Homeland Security, West Virginia Flood Management Program, establishing that a floodplain exists and requiring all contractors, persons, partnerships, businesses, and corporations to obtain a permit for development and construction, substantial improvement, or relocation on any business or structure.
So you just need to follow your public hearing requirements.
Okay, so we're gonna have a public hearing now? Oh, okay. Is there anyone here to speak on this issue?
I got a question on that. I own
Sure.
property out in Saberton area where Deckers Creek follows.
Okay,
When I first purchased the loan on this piece of property, I was required to pay flood insurance. Then when I refinanced it, they required me not to pay flood insurance because they said I was not in the immediate flood zone area, which the elevations were so minute that I ended up having to hire CTL, who come down and did a complete survey of it. And then after CTL, they sent me down, and I forget the guy's name, but he's down there on Clay Street, where he come out and did an elevation. I'm 6 inches in the floodplain on where my front door is. So my question was that bridge down at Marilla,
yes.
which was supposed to be a subterranean bridge, is not what I was told is a subterranean bridge, since it have culverts underneath of it and doesn't have free flow of water or debris so that it can flow freely under and over it because of the railing and stuff
Right.
that they've placed on this bridge. So my concerns in our area is, and I think Dave Rogers was his name, that used to have Sterling Faucet up there, or was in charge of Sterling Faucet years past, but that kept complaining about this bridge, and of course it was always a tug of war. City didn't want to take precedent over it. The state didn't want to take precedence over it. The city was the one that designed it. The state was the one that approved it. So in order for us to really be considered in that area for this zoning that they're trying to propose, shouldn't that be reevaluated and assessed to make sure that bridge does meet the standards of status quo to be able to allow that bridge, if it is or is not a obstruction that would cause flooding back up my way, so to speak?
Okay.
Just a thought.
Okay, with permission, I will ask Mr.
Public
Paul.
hearing things are, the public hearing guidelines are in the folder now,
Yeah.
in case you didn't know.
Okay, that's fine, thank you. I will ask for, Mr. Paul, can you come up and possibly answer that question since, explain who you are? Sure. I'm gonna ask it just so, or a clarification, just so it's part of the evidence. Okay,
My name's Mike Paul. I'm the floodplain administrator and GIS coordinator for Monongalia County. What we're doing right now is the second reading, obviously, for the floodplain ordinance that needs to be adopted. It's been since 2010 since the last update occurred with our floodplain ordinance and the new maps for Monongalia County. So FEMA has come in and kind of reworked some of the ordinance and the state ordinance that we have to adopt. We use the state model to adopt that ordinance for Monongalia County. Part of adopting that ordinance is required by FEMA for us to participate as a community in the National Flood Insurance Program. So that's kind of where we stand right now. So if we
Okay.
didn't adopt said ordinance, we wouldn't have any kind of flood insurance help and any kind of disaster assistance from FEMA if that 100-year flood was to occur. And I'm sorry, what was your name, sir?
Lou Scottrell.
Lou Scottrell. Mr. Scottrell is addressing the subterranean bridge right there in Saberton. I
Right.
believe that is in the city of Morgantown.
Yes.
It is.
It is,
It
okay.
is.
I know that different bridges over time do need to be reevaluated, especially by the city engineers or, say, the Army Corps of Engineers. Maybe different flood standards have changed with the amount of flow of water that can occur through the culverts on said stream and Deckers Creek. Now, Deckers Creek is in Zone AE. I don't know if that rings a bell or not, but Zone AE is the approximate flood, 100-year flood with elevation data is what the E stands for. So there has been a flood study that's been done in that section of Deckers Creek, and the majority of Deckers Creek actually. But I would speak with Damian Davis, the city engineer. They handle the floodplain engineering and permitting specifically for the city of Morgantown. That's kind of, I don't like to step on toes when it comes to the city of Morgantown because they do their own permitting and floodplain ordinance. But that's something I would address with them directly. But any kind of questions you have that you need help with and they can't answer, I'd be more than happy to help you.
I'd like to get card because I've gone to them.
Okay.
Okay.
numerous times
Great.
over the past 35 years. and it's-
Right. Now, also, since this is a public hearing, is there anything else you want to add since you were able to talk and you just explained why we're having the second reading? Is there anything else you want to add?
Well, at this-
Why this is, besides what you stated?
Yeah, absolutely. At this time, as you know, and a lot of the citizens of Monongalia County know, we do have that floodplain ordinance that's been in effect since 2010, and prior to that, since 1992. The flood maps were last updated, I said, in 2010. Some changes in elevation data has changed that FEMA did studies on certain streams in Monongalia County, such as the Mon River. Some of the elevation data has changed. Dents Run, West Run, Deckers Creek. Some of those 100-year flood elevations have changed. So therefore, they had to update the maps. So therefore, you have to update the ordinance. So that's where we stand right now.
Okay.
And at this time, we have had, since the first reading last week, we haven't had any kind of contact or public
Right.
comment at this time.
Okay. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak on it? Seeing none, I'll close the hearing. We can have a second reading now. Do you want to have a motion to approve the second reading?
Approve the ordinance.
To approve the ordinance?
Yeah.
Did we
So-
do?
I'm not a commissioner, so somebody.
No,
has to
I'm
make
looking,
it.
yeah.
I move that we approve the ordinance.
Second.
Probably moved in second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Thank you. And if I may, could you refer, Mike, the concern to the city engineer and just explain and then have him contact?
Yes, sir.
That way at least, let's see what happens, okay? Thank you very much. Okay. Seeing that this is a little unique today, I'm asking for a motion to recess until 2 o'clock.
Move to recess.
Second.
Proper moved and second to recess. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're in recess till 2 o'clock. It is 2 o'clock. Do I have a motion to come out of recess?
Move to,
Go ahead. Move to come out of recess.
second.
Proper moves in second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Great. We are back in session. It is 2 o'clock, and we will continue new business. Item D is to consider approving an order amending the boundaries of the city of Westover as proposed in the petition for annexation without election. All of those certain parcels of real estate as particularly described in the plat and description presented to the county commission on March 13th, 2019. Do I have a motion, a second, and discussion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Properly moved in second. Anyone like to have any discussion?
Yeah, I'd like to, Mayor, if you wouldn't mind, I'd like to ask a couple questions.
Okay.
And again, this is, somebody had asked me this question. With you bringing this property on to, into the city of Westover, I know that Westover doesn't currently have a paid fire department.
No, we
Is
don't.
that a plan in the future?
Actually, we have kind of discussed it, and it's not been anything that's not been favorable discussion, I can say that. Our problem, not our problem, one of the issues that we have with a paid fire department is that now we've got extra expenses. We've got the, the retirement and all the stuff that comes along with that. Now, Granville did it with just two and have the rest of theirs as a volunteer. But then the issue you have with that is that the two that are full-time firemen, they can't leave the confines of Granville. And that would be the same if we chose to do it that way too. We really haven't discussed it at length. It's not something that we totally dismiss, but it's not something that's real attractive to us right now.
Okay. I was just curious, because I was asked the question, I'm like, that's a very good question. I mean, I know the industrial park's not in Westover, but if they were to receive service that's from Westover Volunteer Fire Department, and it made me start thinking, well, with all this additional property in Westover, that might be something that.
It would be something that we would definitely consider. And the other side of that as well, these volunteer fire departments are rated they have a rating system for them. And Westover's volunteer fire department is as good a rating as you can get with not going into a full-time, type of deal.
Is that still taken into consideration with the insurance? So the
It
rating
does.
the rating determines your fee schedule with your insurance?
Yes.
The other thing too is, again, for the public, this is a petition. We know we're moving forward. I would just like the public to know the benefit that this new area that's going to be added to Westover would receive as a part of coming into Westover, and how anything that you can elaborate.
You mean the businesses and stuff that are
Yes.
within that area?
Yes.
Well, they're going to have all the services that the city provides. They're going to have all the, once the infrastructure's, well, even while it's being reimbursed and getting everything set up and, starts becoming a part of the city. Now they have, all the operation and maintenance will be done by the city. We have police protection, obviously the fire department, we already talked about that. So basically they'll have everything that the people in Westover proper have now. And it's a plus, it's a plus. In a lot of places, I'm sure you're probably aware of this, but when Morgantown brought in the Walmart on the out past the Ramada Inn, they wanted to come in because they wanted that police presence and different things, all along knowing that they would have to pay B&O to support the municipality because they're participating in it now. So it's better that way. And if it weren't in, then the developers would be responsible from now on to do their own operation and maintenance, and then the county police would have to respond to anything out there. So it takes part of the burden off of the county, and plus it takes the burden off the developer. So once it becomes into Westover, then we have the full burden on that, which we're willing to undertake, obviously.
And obviously you're here under annexation by petition because you've done your homework and worked with the developers that have agreed to come into your city. So obviously I applaud you for doing your work. I've heard when you brought in Gateway, I've had nothing but good comments from when you brought in Gateway that, you promised a certain level of support and you have delivered. So I appreciate you're working with these entities to bring them in this manner rather than any other form of
Right.
annexation. Ryan, do you have anything to say?
I'd
that
like
you'd
to say one more thing,
Okay.
though. Just for the record, to keep the record straight, I didn't do this. We did this together, the council and city attorney. Everybody did about the same amount of lifting, so it was a group effort. It wasn't me. It was
Well, when I
everybody.
say you
I know, I
represent
just-
the city,
right,
and
just wanted to say that.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay. Go ahead, Ryan.
I said no, but I thought this might
Just
happen.
in case,
So,
we
yeah.
were gonna ask you.
So it is. Westridge is very excited to reach this milestone. We've been working with Westover for probably close to a year now, and there's enough challenges and uncertainty as it is in development and economic development that taking off one variable really does help us when we're talking to national retailers and companies that this area is going to be in the city of Westover. These are the rules and the codes, and these are the services that are coming. So it's a milestone that those companies themselves have been watching and wanting updates on when it comes. So it's an exciting one for us. And
So behind the scenes, even though this is preliminary, though, you have been planning for this, so that the companies that you're coming in were coming in under the assumption that this was going to be the rules of engagement in regards to being in your park.
yes, we had to, when certain ones, especially in this around exit 153, approached us, they would need to know what is the zoning and the building permit process and all of that stuff. And so we thought this day would come, and so we've been telling them that that's what's going to happen, and then to make it official, we'll kind of pave the way for some things to really get started right off of 153.
And being a TIF district, this doesn't change any of your projections in regards to ultimately what you're bringing to the development?
No, it just enhances the probability of it. So.
I would applaud the fact that this is not, an adversarial issue. That pleases me greatly. Mayor, I do have one question. Since we're speaking about codes, have the codes been reviewed to, to bring them, let's say, I know a lot of times things, are left as they were. Has there been a recent review of codes in the city of Westover regarding to planning, regarding to zoning, regarding to these issues?
Actually, it's been more than review. We adjusted and adopted a new ordinance, a C2 ordinance, commercial 2 ordinance for the area that's called the Gateway, and we're doing a C3 or C3 ordinance for the West Ridge.
Good.
And so we've done more than just review them. I mean, because our ordinances, we have to have specific ordinances now that we've expanded to the Gateway and now the West Ridge.
Yes.
That will apply to that area, and it'll allow them to do what they need to do. Because the last thing we want to do is, if we would say, no, that's the way the ordinance read, we're not going to change it, well, these guys wouldn't want to.
I understand.
They couldn't do that, you know
Good.
what I mean? So we're very flexible with it. We try to accommodate, I guess is for lack of a better word, but working together with it and putting it together and being able to be flexible on what we need to do, and then at the same time getting that written down in the form of orders, which we have already passed, and that's the way it works.
Good.
That's the way it works. It's the only way to do it.
I'm very happy to hear that. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
For clarification, I want it very clear that for the public, and we're real pleased, you have a majority of the freeholders in the territory that sought to be annexed, plus a majority of the qualified voters in the additional territories that sought to be annexed. And this is an annexation, as was stated, without an election. And just to clarify, the county's only role is, once we receive it, the commission is required to enter an order to such effect, confirming the additional territory, and then passing this annexation on to the county assessor in compliance to the code. But I agree with the other two commissioners. We want to thank you. One, I know it's 397.93 acres, but we do want to thank you for working together. And I was there, I don't know how many years ago, when John Lynch talked to the mayor and said that he was willing and wanted to look at coming in the Westover, and you've kept your promise. And I think that's really important. I think that's something that says a lot about your development and also the relationship with Westover and the county commission, that we're all working on this together. And I agree with Ed that this is done by your asking to come in and working together. And I'm really excited. I wish we would see more of that working together. Yes?
Respond to that. Of course, everybody knows John Lynch. If
Yeah.
you don't know John Lynch, you lived in a cave for a long time. Great guy to work with, much like Stevie and Cliff at the Gateway. John and I pretty much shook hands on this a long time ago, and we had a couple rocky spots. I mean, everything does, but John's a man of his word. Ryan is as
Ryan
well. and
followed
so
it up,
He's
yes.
following these. He's got a hell of a mentor, I can tell you that. So but I can't say enough about the Lynch family and what everybody's doing. And I would say that even if we didn't do this.
Right.
And that's the 100% true. So, but I appreciate you guys' effort. Our effort is paying off for us now, and that's and we're not done, by the way.
Mayor, I got a quick administrative question. So you've received your valuation for Westover in the February timeframe in accordance with the assessor's due diligence.
Right.
This is going to be effective, I assume. Will this be 7/1? So he'll have to there will be some coordination with the assessor's office to redo that valuation?
I'm not
so
really
that
sure about that.
this property is included?
It'd be effective immediately, but it
Well,
takes.
it'll have to be effective 7/1 in regards to
Next to
Taxes.
following
Taxation.
year.
collection, but, so there might need to be some communication with the assessor's office to
That's probably why
verify.
I set
So
was
when you
7.
set your levy rates in
Right.
April, that you're using whatever evaluations you should be.
They usually let us know when we need to do something, so I'm sure we'll be on the same page eventually. So
Okay, well,
that's
if you don't get something, maybe we ought to
We'll
just
forward a
ask.
copy of everything.
Yeah, we'll
to
make
the
sure.
assessor's office.
Okay.
Mr. President, I just wanted to.
Sure, go ahead.
correct
Why don't
the
you
mayor
just-
on-
yeah.
Correct the mayor on one thing. I'm proud to be part of the team, but this is his vision, his leadership, his drive. But for that, this would not have gotten done. I see all over the state, as you know, I practice local government law all over the state. A lot of people give up on these projects, and the mayor's got no give up in him, and he dragged the rest of the team along with him. So I just wanted to make sure you were aware of that. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Rankin. Okay, we had the question a second. I will now have the vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
It passes unanimously. Congratulations. This has been a long time coming, and we're very excited to be a part of this. Let's see, what else do we have on the agenda?
You gotta do
Oh,
your
we have to do an
reports.
order?
You have an order to sign,
Okay.
and then you still have 2 items on the agenda.
Yeah, reports from elected officials. So we have an order to sign, but are there any reports from elected officials? Ben, anything? Oh, yeah, oh, good.
Well, the only
Yeah.
question I would have is now, since you approved the annexation.
Yes.
Are there any, is this all business, or are there any residential units that's going to be in there?
It's, for right now, there possibly could be some housing in parts of this area, but for right now, for the sake of the redistricting or whatever, as far as our wards go, it's going to stay the same. Now, we're starting the process of trying to get some areas that are close to Westover, look like that everybody's thought's been in Westover for a long time, and we'll be able to add some population there. I don't think we'll ever get, in that particular area, we're not going to get up to be a Class 2 city. But that's really the goal of Westover, to be able to be, obviously, we're going to be larger than a lot of things in the state as far as acreage goes, but we still, we're still stuck at that 4,000, just a little less than 4,000 people within the city. So that's a good question, and we think about that a lot, actually.
Well, and I need to also make sure we move it over for voter registration purposes, but I was gonna ask the commission to make sure Mike Paul got a copy of that, because he'll have to update the BAS maps that go to, for the United States Census,
Okay,
so that they make sure that that annexation gets
okay, we will make that immediately,
on our
yes.
census maps.
Okay,
Thank you.
good.
Actually, in the three prior annexations, we've had 2 of them, other than the mall, 2 of those 3, we did gain some population, but then that changed because we had one house in South Dents Run that somebody lived in, and we had a couple above the old Kmart. When that new road went into FedEx there, that all changed because those people were relocated. So we actually went down a few numbers, by about 3 or 4, I believe. So it wasn't really a significant number by any means, but
And then you do have some people living at the Gateway where you annexed.
there's apartments there, yes.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Reports from county commissioners. Sean?
I'll make mine brief. As I report last week, I had a Development Authority meeting on Thursday, but that was postponed due to lack of a quorum. So we'll be meeting, I think we'll be meeting next Thursday. And then Friday, we had another one of our special meetings to work on the FY20 budget. Monday, we had our red team meeting, and I'll report later in regards to some progress in that regard. Tuesday was a busy day. I had breakfast with Board of Education President Joe Statler, and then we had our extension building meeting. And then, Mayor, we had a meeting with the developers at the industrial park to talk about the River Road Access Park. And again, I appreciate your involvement in that, because that project benefits Westover, and it's very important that we try to address that issue sooner rather than later, and not wait around. We'll keep you updated in regards to, we have an MMPO meeting on Thursday. There won't be any action, but we suspect by the next MMPO meeting in April that we may have an interim report back in regards to the feasibility, just a smaller scale feasibility study, to see, what's even feasible. And we'd really like that to be very important to Westover. Obviously, it benefits you guys, and I know it is important, but we'll hopefully have some movement in that regard. And Ryan, I understand that Glenn Adrian was meeting with you guys to kind of not reinvent the wheel in regards to the need for that access, and I thank you in advance for your assistance to that. And that's really, we have as I mentioned, we have an MMPO meeting on Thursday, and next week on Monday I have another OpenGov conference call to get our story done, and then on Tuesday I have my meeting with the Board of Health prior to our Health Department meeting on Thursday. So
Okay.
that's all I have.
Thank you. Ed?
He's picked up your habit. You're starting to drum.
And
That's okay.
I kick, he's
Turn
not.
fast.
Well, first of all, welcome spring. Thank you. I've survived another winter, so that makes me very happy. Last Wednesday, the Planning Commission met, and with yesterday, we conducted phone interviews to cut down to at least 3 candidates to bring in to interview for the new planning to replace Rich Wood. So that is still on track to have a month overlap, hopefully, of having the new planner work in concert with our retiring planner. Monday, the 4-H camp board met. I'm happy to report that we are completely booked for weddings and are booking now into 2020. So the camp is looking good. We did have our construction meeting, as Sean said, on the Extension Center. Then tomorrow, the MMPO meets, and I also have a landmark commission. And a couple of congratulations. First of all, to our county for being the 2nd healthiest county in the state. That's a good thing. Also, congratulations to Mike Mills. Mike was selected as the Small Businessman of the Year by the SBA. Mike, if you don't recall, designed our courthouse square and has done other projects. And lastly, we wait with bated breath the findings of the state DOH and plans for our road repairs. More to follow after Friday.
Real quickly, in Granville this past Saturday, we gave away 12,000 pounds of food, and we had 182 families, 650 family members. To add a little to what Sean had mentioned, we had gone to a meeting with Jimmy Smith, and FEMA was there, and one of the options we were looking at is the possibility, it's slight, is mitigation and getting some funds because of the road that is now closed. So we're following that process. It's a long shot, but we're going to try it and see what we can do. The third thing is I want to announce that on Thursday, April 11th at 6:30 p.m. at Camp Dawson, we will continue and have a very important North Central Road Caucus meeting. I will at that time ask as one of the agenda items to possibly file a lawsuit, and we will look at that and see what the possibility would be of that. And that is it. Do I have a motion for adjournment?
Move to adjourn.
Second?
Move. We be adjourned.